Test, test, test. Audio. Ooh, that's sensitive. Okay. Can you guys hear me okay? It should be pretty clear. It looks like I'm clipping a little bit, but maybe I'll just move my face away from the mic. I'm slightly loud. I scared you. Okay. I'm sorry. We'll get started in 8 minutes. I just want to make sure it's a smooth beginning. Apparently, YouTube is experiencing some buffering issues. I'm not really sure what the deal is there, but if you are experiencing some delay in the stream, then go ahead and hop over to Twitch. They're both, it's streaming, and it doesn't seem to be having issues, so whatever. Oh, hello? Test, test. Hello? Everyone there? Okay. So, let me know if I'm like screaming into this microphone, because I can see in Streamlabs that it's like kind of clipping a little bit, but I think it's at a comfortable level. But if I'm blowing out your eardrums, then feel free to turn down the volume. All right, so long time and no stream, folks. The last time I had a stream was like 6 or 7 months ago, according to YouTube. If you're new to my stream, then I'm just going to go ahead and apologize for for any potential barking you might hear from my dog. It's about that time of the day when the mailman makes their rounds. So if she starts barking, then I'm getting the mail or something. But otherwise, what else should we talk about before? So I guess I'll explain my absence a little bit. I was, I think I gained most of my following back in 2017, and I was having a lot more fun back then. And I was talking to someone from my trading group, and I was explaining to them that I made the critical error of Trading and streaming was the friends with benefits that should not have become a serious relationship, and I made it a serious relationship, and it stopped being fun. And I really needed to step back for a while and, kind of make it fun again, because I was taking it too seriously. It was really affecting my personal life. And one of the things that I really want to warn you guys before we even start talking about the charts is, if you're new to trading, be very careful about how it's going to be affecting your life, because I have a very strong suspicion, and I'm going to justify this suspicion throughout this stream, that we're going to see a really strong bull market. As the dollar declines, it's going to fuel more and more capital flight from dollar into other asset classes. And I have a feeling that it's going to be a sustained bull market. Whether it's going to be a 2017 2.0 or not, that's, that remains to be seen. But, don't lose sight on why you're trading, right? Or why you're investing. It's very easy to fall into a gambling addiction. I have fallen into several bouts of that. Nothing that's like financially ruined me or anything, but you start to sleep less. Your diet becomes shitty. You stop talking to your friends as much. It starts to affect all assets of your life. So I'm just giving you a disclaimer. I feel like it's my due diligence. I started streaming and doing my analysis forever ago, because I wanted to just help people, make the most out of this situation, because I felt like in 2017 it was a really, really good opportunity for everyone to profit off of, and you really changed their life for the better. So don't use this opportunity to change your life for the worse and lose sight on like what the end goal is here, right? Anything else I should say? I feel like that was enough paternal lecturing. What else? Let's just go ahead and get right into it. And if I feel like I need to lecture you guys some more, I'll stop and give you a stern talking to. Okay, so let's first start this off by talking about the dollar index. So the dollar index is a relative weighting compared to other world currencies, and it's basically just used as a way to judge the strength of the dollar, compared to other currencies. As the dollar index trends downward, so something like this, you can see that the dollar compared to the euro or the yen, or whatever the base, whatever the comparison is, it is relatively devaluing, which means that anything denominated in the dollar will go up, right? So it's just simple math here. Oh man, I should have got my Wacom tablet ready. This would have been old school, man. I don't think my software is even updated for it, so I'll just have to scribble here. So if we're just looking at a simple ratio of something compared to so let's say X compared to USD. Can I make S's? Yeah. Compared to USD, if dollar goes down or dollar goes up, it's going to affect the relative value of X. Okay, so that's what we're seeing right now. So first, let's talk about the dollar, where I think it could go, what that means for the broader picture here, because I really don't think enough people are focusing in on this. I think this is we're seeing a lot of, and this is totally fine. I'm not bashing anyone for not focusing on the broader picture, but when we look at what this means for the global economy, this has some potentially drastic ramifications. So first and foremost, this is a monthly chart of the dollar index. Okay, there's this nice little channel it's been confined within. You can argue whether or not this is a legit supply and demand channel or not. I think it's okay. You see really clear retest of the midline. You see really clear respect of the upper and lower boundaries. And you can see really clear support and resistance. Although the dollar index isn't directly, it's not like an asset. I'm sure there are some sort of instruments to trade the dollar index directly. But, this isn't like a stock where it's like, I'm going to buy shares of the dollar index. So the support and resistance doesn't inherently make sense unless you're comparing it to global scale asset rotation. So first and foremost, okay, we see that when we throw in the Bollinger Bands on this sucker, we see that this thing's very obviously consolidated, very heavily consolidated here. It is so consolidated, in fact, that it is making a 30-year low in terms of the Bollinger Band squeeze. So when we look at the Bollinger Band squeeze, this tells us just how consolidated the market is, and the more consolidated a market is, the bigger the bang on the breakout is most likely to be. So you can just think about it in terms of like, a really simple comparison would be like, say you're squeezing a tube of toothpaste, right? And the tighter you squeeze it, it may not blow off the cap just yet, but if you keep squeezing it and you keep squeezing it, the pressure builds up and eventually it blows out the end of the tube. And that's what we're seeing right now. So we're seeing the tube of toothpaste getting necked here, and now we're seeing the beginning of the toothpaste start to come out the end of the tube here, and this is the end here, and now we're seeing a very strong breakout to the downside. And again, these are monthly candles, so we have to look at this. This isn't just a flash in the pan. When we see sustained breakouts on monthly levels, it lasts 1 to 2 to 3 years. We saw something here. It caused a dollar bull market from 2014 to 2015, you could argue 2016, and vice versa. We saw a giant squeeze here and a breakout to the downside, and this one lasted, how long is this? This was from 2002 to 2008. So it was a 6-year bear market for the dollar. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here, but it stands to reason we're at least going to see a meaningful move to the downside. And when we look at this Bollinger Band squeeze and we look at the support and resistance levels, I just have this whole like green bar outline because it's not real clear, just like a solid line. It's more of a zone. So at minimum, this thing's looking like a 10% decline to the downside here at minimum. And if we're following the supply and demand channel, we're most likely going to see a retest of this thing, which is 12 to 13%. And if it's a real strong move, this could get ugly over the next couple years. So this could be a 30% decline of the dollar. So what does that mean? Right? Well, first, I see the chat blowing up. Let's go ahead and see what the chat's saying before I go into the ramifications. I want to make sure everyone has a firm understanding of where the argument I'm about to pose is beginning. So let's go through the chat. Next year is going to be a little sleep in lots of charts. Well, hopefully you get a little bit more sleep than that. Thanks for the important disclosure. You're welcome. Yeah, I think that's really important. I know it's really popular right now to be a quote-unquote degenerate trader or whatever, but fuck that, dude. I'm telling you from firsthand experience, it's just not worth it. It's fun. It's like, it's a fast car that you forget to put the oil in, and eventually the engine blows out. So don't seize your engine block. You're in it for the long term here. Don't be a degenerate. Focus on the long-term goal here. No live drawing. Yeah, sorry, I messed up. Okay, actually, the Twitch chat is much more active than the YouTube chat, which is surprising. Okay, are we cool to move on? Because this is really exciting, and one of the reasons why, I was saying I wasn't going to stream for a while, but I just feel like this is too important not to talk about. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on, unless anyone has any objections here. Okay, so we're talking about what the dollar index is, the relative weighting, right? We're talking about how consolidated this market is, very. And we're talking about how big and sustained the move could be. And the answer to that is very, very sustained and very big. You see, I don't know how much you crypto guys are following stocks or gold, but unless you've been living on a rock, let's go ahead and take a look at stocks, right? So here's SPY. Let's go to the let's go to the futures market here. Let's point out some interesting. Okay. Oh, look at that. New all-time high, huh? That's awesome. Day after day after day after day. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at what this big drop is. Okay. So this was back when, you know, all the quarantine stuff was happening. The end of the world was upon us. Mass unemployment, and yet we've fully recovered, and then some. So what is the takeaway from this? Does that mean that our economy is just as good, if not better, than it was before the coronavirus? How can that be when we have mass unemployment? We have the devaluation of the dollar via stimulus, which I'll go into further detail about. How can that be that the stock market is making all-time highs when it seems like there's less money rotating throughout the market? Well, when we look at the dollar index, so here's the daily. We look at the dollar index. All right, so here, you guys follow me here? So this was the drop of the COVID-19 low right here, boom. And we see the dollar index peak to high and immediately just melted itself right as the S&P 500 futures started rallying. Well, that's partially driven by this massive shakeout, which had a violent reaction to the upside. But the key component here that not a lot of people are talking about is that the reason why the S&P 500, which is denominated in the dollar, is going up is because the dollar itself is going down compared to the other world currencies. And that's being fueled by all this stimulus that is being pumped into our economy, you know, because of the COVID-19 economic relief packages that we keep seeing thrown around. Just to put things into perspective, the first round of stimulus that we saw printed something like 20 to 30% of the annual GDP for the United States over the span of like a week. Okay, so 30% of our GDP was printed overnight. I forget what the actual number is, like 20 to 30% of the annual GDP was printed in the first round of stimulus. And they're talking about doing it again. We're seeing entire industries wash up and dry out overnight. And all the government is doing right now, and all they really can do, is keep them afloat. But what they're doing is they're sinking the dollar and pushing up other markets. So we see it with gold. We see it with not so much oil right now. This one's been a real turd in the punch bowl, but we're seeing it with Bitcoin, and we're seeing it with everything. We're seeing it with lumber futures. I'm sure you guys have probably seen that on Twitter. Everything that's denominated in housing, if it's denominated in the dollar, it is going up. And it's not because the economy is getting stronger. It's because the dollar is weakening and people just want to get the hell out of the dollar. The first inclination of most retail investors when the stock market falls is they're like, I'm out. I don't want to play it. I'm going to hold on to my dollar. But as the dollar weakens and it buys less and less, we're going to see them play catch up and try to get out of the dollar over the next couple years. So when we look at this monthly chart of the dollar index, which again is the relative weighting versus other world currencies, this 10%, 15%, 30% drop does not seem out of the question. It's happened multiple times throughout history. We're seeing just record level stimulus, record level unemployment, and the government is talking about doing it again. So the problem is we are exacerbating the economic issues that we're having by printing more money, but there's no industry that's providing any labor to justify this this new capital rotation that's happening. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good if you're holding the dollar literally anything that isn't a dollar looks better. And I think that's why, before we go into this Bitcoin discussion, I think this is why there is a strong argument for a prolonged Bitcoin / cryptocurrency bull market. Because again, as the dollar declines, people are going to look for more and more avenues to get exposure to other markets that aren't the dollar. Okay. Any questions about anything I said so far? I'll give you guys a second because I think there's a stream delay or something. And just from a simple pattern standpoint, this looks like a double top. If this thing keeps going down, which I suspect it will due to the Bollinger Band consolidation argument, if this thing double tops, I mean, just even doing basic technical analysis of this double tops, 15 points to the downside, what is that? I mean, yeah, there you go. %20 drop from current price or current value. Okay, so I just want to make sure everyone's following before I get into the nitty gritty of the correlation to the Bitcoin chart, because it's really, really interesting. And if you're not following me so far, you're going to get lost. Hopefully not get lost, but potentially get lost. And I have this nicely labeled chart for everyone. And this correlation, surprisingly enough, dates back to the beginning of the Bitcoin first parabolic move, which is incredibly interesting. You're all good? Okay. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, so again, so when we think about what's really interesting about this argument is, you know, the whole concept of Bitcoin from the get-go was that it was a means to escape government intervention in monetary systems. And it was a way to give power to the people rather than giving more and more power to the government. Because we can see what the government's doing, right? They're devaluing the dollar, and I'm not blaming them for doing that. I mean, there is an argument to be made that maybe we should just rip the Band-Aid off now because it should have happened in 2008, but it didn't. And now the ramifications are going to be worse. But actually, I want to show you guys something interesting before we move on. So the dollar index is in a really nice trading range. And we can see now that it's starting to break to the downside of the range, right? But what's really interesting to note is that, you know, say what you will about Trump getting elected, whatever. But it looks like, just from a pure technical standpoint, Trump's inauguration delayed a massive recession, and is potentially going to make it worse. But for the time being, delayed, right? Because it hasn't actually just like dumpster dived, right? But what's really interesting to note is that it looks like the market priced in Trump losing. So yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin. I don't want to get into that discussion. All right, so here's the dollar index, right here. Bottom, here's Bitcoin via Bitstamp right here. And what's really interesting is that it's not a direct correlation. And this is where I think I lost a lot of people with my argument when I posted it on Twitter, is it's not a one-to-one correlation of Bitcoin to dollar. It's not like every time the dollar moves down, Bitcoin moves up and vice versa. What's important to note is that on major moves of the dollar weakening or strengthening, there is some really strong ties to Bitcoin, both in the bullish and bearish direction. And if we just look at a brief history of this interaction, so let's go back to 2013 because I think this is incredibly interesting. So right where Bitcoin bottoms out right here and begins a parabolic move to the upside, the dollar breaks this local high right here, boom, and then immediately goes into this like almost 2-year bear market. And it makes this little accumulation range, and then it rallies. So when Bitcoin bottomed, it saw a rally. And as the dollar entered this accumulation range, you can see that Bitcoin started to mark down a little bit. Not terribly interesting there, but what is really interesting is as the dollar entered into this trading range that I talked about a minute ago. So here's the trading range. Everything inside here is the trading range. As the dollar entered into the trading range, Bitcoin bottoms. Okay, so we can see that the local support of the range was set here, and the Bitcoin makes its last time hitting 170. And from here, you can just see what happens, right? Bitcoin marks up bigly, marks up big time, right? I mean, we're on log here, right? So what does this gain? It's some stupid number. Okay, cool. Just a casual 11,000%, no big deal. Meanwhile, the dollar is range bound. And here is right when Trump took office. So you can see it looks like the dollar is about to break to the downside, but it doesn't. It continues upward. And what's really interesting is that we see a lot of changing of hands in the Bitcoin markets here. And right now, this leads us into what looks like the down. At the same time that the range low is going to be broken to the downside, we see Bitcoin challenging its range high that was set back in 2018. So here's the range high, boom, now we're here. So the theory is as the dollar continues to be devalued by stimulus, economic hardship from collapsing businesses, foreclosures on houses, everything denominated in the dollar is going to mark up. So let's talk about Bitcoin then. Okay, so let's look at it on the weekly chart. Here's Coinbase. Don't know, what is that? Oh, FIB. Okay, so let's look at, boom, get out of here. Let's look at the weekly chart. So again, here's the range high. And we can see quite clearly we're consolidating above the weekly, the 2018/2019 range high here. Previously resistance 1, 2, 3 times, and now we're consolidating on it. And we're finding support on the 11, call it 11,400, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's like 11.5, 11.4, whatever you want to call it. And now we see a major change of character in the market. The change of character here is that following the COVID shakeout, we see this nice rally to the upside, and we're finding support at what was previously resistance right as the dollar is going to mark down. So at minimum, even if there is no increase in demand, just the sheer fact, say everything remains the same here, just the fact that the dollar is getting devalued at minimum is going to push this to the upside. And, I'm not talking like 4-hour charts, daily charts. I'm talking like the grand scheme of things. Just the simple fact that Bitcoin USD, if the dollar goes down, then Bitcoin will go up. It's just it's just math. It's going to go to the upside. So let's talk about a couple of things. So let's look at the daily chart here. So here's the 2019 weekly range high / 20 18. And we can see we're consolidating above it, and we're making higher highs and higher lows. And what's really interesting, just as a side note, is compare this range, this guy, to this fella right here. If I can get them both in the same view, Jesus. Very similar anatomy here. From this reaccumulation range to this reaccumulation range. So basic anatomy here is you're going to see a range high, higher low, higher high. Take out this low. Boom. And then it just slowly marks up. So we see it. You see the low get taken out here. You see the low get taken out here. And what I suspect is going to happen is we're going to see a slow climb through resistance. Everyone who was waiting to buy the dip is going to get fucked over again, because that's what Bitcoin does. And once we approach this price zone, we start clearing these highs, we're going to see a cascade of liquidations, I suspect, and a strong break to the upside. I think the lows are in. I would be shocked if it goes down to here. If it does, that is the Hail Mary buy the dip moment. But the way things are looking right now, especially given the dollar argument and the fact that it's breaking out of that monthly consolidation, I don't see the argument for Bitcoin downside. I see there's an argument if you're wanting for it to go to the downside, but if you're looking at it objectively, I do not see it. It's very interesting, right? And as we approach these, everything up in here, I suspect we're going to see some FOMO through here. The alt BTC pairs are going to take a big hit because they've just been flourishing. They've been crushing it, right? Alts have been just dominating the market. And as Bitcoin comes through here, we're going to see capital rotate from alts to Bitcoin, and it's going to move to the upside. And once we break this 2017 monthly swing high, so let's go back here to the monthly chart. Once we break this, it's game on. And if we can get this is big, guys. Like if we can keep moving, which we're seeing here. I mean, the monthly candle closes today. Tomorrow is the new monthly candle. If we, unless Bitcoin just absolutely just gets wrecked in the next few hours, the next 4 hours, this is a bullish close. We got to this doesn't get much more bullish than this, guys. Like, I do not see the downside argument. I've been saying this. I don't understand it. We got a monthly level here, closed strongly above it. This looks like a continuation candle. We see a continuation, and we see a retest of this monthly level with this little wick here. This screams continuation. Oh, this needs to get moved. This screams continuation in my book. I genuinely think before we see any sustainable downside, something that's like corrective behavior, we're going to flip this as support. I see this going up, flipping this as flipping this as support. And then if you're not in the game, then too bad, so sad. You missed the opportunity. And you'll be FOMOing in. So before I talk about strategy here, because I think strategy is going to be really important. Any questions here? Because I really want to harp on strategy for how to tackle and make the most out of this market. Is there a YouTube chat going on right now? Because I see it popping up in my preview, but I don't see it in my feed. Because I feel like I've accidentally ignored a whole swath of YouTube questions. And if that is the case, I really apologize. Oh my god, I have been. I'm so sorry, guys. Oh man, that sucks. I'm really sorry. I just refreshed my page and I see now that I've like missed a ton of chat. Let me catch up with this real quick. Uh why do you think QE is inflationary? I think I answered that, but if I didn't, I'll circle back to that. Okay, question from Bitcoin Edge. Do you see the rising wedge on this short? I'm assuming you're talking about this. I think it's too soon, and I would not want to short that personally. Yeah, so I'm going to go into the strategy, and I'm going to explain why I would not be looking to short personally, or why I'm personally not looking to short. But I'll go into the strategy, and what my personal approach will be over the next couple years. Will alts like Ether outperform Bitcoin in this type of market? I think temporarily, yeah. I think they will. Okay. Any other questions from YouTube that I didn't address? So from Twitch, had the same view as you for a while now, been adding Bitcoin like a madman since the first 11K break. Good. The situation is perfect for us to have a sick bull market. I totally agree. How's life going, boss? Swell. It's going swell. From Jack, interesting to me that Satoshi's Genesis block came out with the message that Chancellor on brink of second bailout. Oh, that is interesting. Do you think Bitcoin can continue to stay bullish if SPY dies? So SPY, for those who don't know, is the S&P 500 ETF. Yeah, that's hard to say, because when we see, every time we see really big, so it's hard to say for a couple of reasons, because every time we see strong pullbacks on stocks, and when I mean strong pullbacks, I mean like meaningful pullbacks, it tends to take Bitcoin with it, because I think that lowers overall investor confidence. But we've also seen SPY pullback and Bitcoin not do that. I think the stronger correlation to watch is the dollar, personally. There is some loose correlation that I've found over the years to be between Bitcoin and S&P 500, but overall, I think the dollar is the one to watch. What if the economy dies? Yeah, so that's the argument I'm talking about. Is so if the dollar dies, when I say dies, I mean it goes down like 15, 20, 30%. That means everything's going to go up. And this is why we keep seeing people shorting stocks and just getting their asses handed to them, because they think they're making the big short. You know, they're like, oh, I'm shorting, like the economy looks like shit. But that's what they're missing. The key component here is, why is it going up? A, it's being fueled by people that just keep shorting it, but B, the dollar is going down, and so people are it's a risk on event. It's a very interesting time, because although the economy is like pretty bad right now, it's still a risk on event, because people who still have money to invest are like, I need to get out of the dollar, and so they're looking for vessels to do that. Bitcoin's one of them. S&P 500 is one of them. You know, tech stocks, biotech stocks, gold. We haven't even talked about gold. I mean, there's a lot of vehicles that people are trying to move dollars or get out of dollars, you know. Is stocks going up because government is buying up corporate debt? To be honest with you, I don't know enough about that to comment on that, but I do know that it is a direct correlation to the dollar. It's clear as day. Do you think all the DeFi projects are a bubble, or it's going to make everyone rich? So I'm going to comment on that in a minute, because I think there's going to be some counterintuitive things that happen in this market. So it's going to be really important to, you know, look at it in the right lens. Okay, we ready to move on? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let's talk about some strategy here. Let's talk about some metrics. The metric I always use for judging trend is the Ichimoku cloud with the 50 and 200 EMA. Okay, the Ichimoku cloud is combined with the 50 and 200 EMA is one of the strongest lens through which we can view the market that removes any subjectivity and makes it more an objective view on the market. So let's pull this over here too. So first, let's talk about the crypto market cap. The fuck? What happened to total? Oh, it's just total. Okay, so let's look at the crypto market cap, because the crypto market cap, the way that I view the market is I look at crypto as one whole asset, and within crypto there are sub assets. You can look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is obviously the lion's share of market cap, and you have a couple of other larger alts. You know, Ether, Link now is one of them. And then below that, it's another sub asset class. So we can break up one large asset class into like 3 subclasses, right? The larger asset class is going to be the total market cap, Bitcoin being the sub, high cap alts being the next sub, and then all of the just like shit coins and low market cap stuff all falls into another bucket. So when we look at the total market cap, what we can take away from an analysis of the total market cap is capital coming into the market in the first place? In order for a bull market to take place, a sustained macro bull market, capital has to be entering into the market, right? Capital is what's going to be fresh capital, I should say. Capital coming in from coming onto exchanges and fueling the moves to the upside. So the first prerequisite is capital moving into the market? Next is, let's type this up. Sorry, I can't really talk and type. All right, so let's talk about these 3 questions here. Is capital moving into the market? So really quick glance, is capital moving into the market? Yes, we see capital moving into the market. We see an uptrend in the, let's do this, sorry. Come on. Boom, boom. Okay, so is capital moving into the market? Well, the metric I like to use is just eyeball it. Is the crypto market cap in an uptrend? Is it making higher highs and higher lows? Well, yes, it is. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Well, you can call it that, whatever. Higher highs, higher lows. Definition of an uptrend. Cool. Check. Ah. Check? Is that a check? Close enough. Okay. Is the move sustained? Well, that's hard to tell, right? There's a couple of different ways you can look at it. You can look at it through momentum oscillators. There's a great tool like RSI or MACD, whatever your momentum indicator of choice is. My personal choice is I like to use the Ichimoku cloud system. So with the Ichimoku cloud system, which I use standard settings, I don't use the modified quote unquote crypto settings. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I know Josh Olszewicz, he likes to use these modified crypto settings, which works great for him. It's just different strokes for different folks. You know what I mean? But my preferred settings are the standard default settings, 9, 26, 52, 26, and I couple that with the 50 and 200 EMA. So why do I use the 50 and the 200 EMA on top of this? The 50 EMA is going to show us the relative short-term trend, and the 200 is going to show us the sustained long-term macro direction of the trend. So if we see the 200 EMA turning up, we see the 50 EMA turning up, that on its face is a bullish uptrend. Bullish uptrend. There can't be a bearish uptrend. It is. There is a bullish, a bullish bias, let's say. And additionally, I want to slap the Ichimoku cloud because that's going to give us our continuation or reversal signals much faster than than the 50 and the 200 EMA are going to show us. The 250 EMA lag behind, and the Ichimoku cloud is a much more responsive indicator of trend. So, what can we take away from this? Well, we see a sustained move to the upside, right? We broke the 200 EMA. We see this interaction here called the golden cross, where the 50 EMA crosses the 200 EMA. So this is the 50 EMA. I'm sorry, that's the 200 EMA. This is the 50 EMA. This right here is called the golden cross, which typically marks a strong continuation to the upside, and that's exactly what we see here. But additionally, we want to know how strong the trend is. Well, some of the metrics we can use go great with the Ichimoku cloud system. So let's say 2A is the lagging span above price. B is the market trending above the Tenkan/Kijun. C is the Tenkan trending above the Kijun. D is the market trending above the cloud. Okay. So the lagging span, this is a crash course on Ichimoku analysis, but lagging span is this guy. If the lagging span is trending above price, that typically hints toward bullish continuation, and vice versa. When the lagging span starts to break below price, like something like here, that typically means downside is in store, or at least a prolonged consolidation. Okay. Is the market trending above the Tenkan and the Kijun? So Tenkan is the blue guy. Boom. And the Kijun is the red guy. And right now, we see this this is considered a weak bearish cross where the Kijun is trending up and the Tenkan trends up and it crosses down. But it's considered weak because it's above the cloud. And the strongest bullish continuation you could ask for in the Ichimoku cloud system is a recross where you have the Kijun, you have the Tenkan, it crosses, and it recrosses like this. So you see the weak bearish cross, and then you see the recross right here. So you can see we're not quite in the recross territory, but we are trending above the Kijun. And the Tenkan will naturally play catch up. And if it recrosses here, that is like, you could not ask for a more bullish situation than that. And of course, the third or the fourth metric, is it above the cloud? Yeah, here's the cloud. Trending above it. The cloud tends to act as support. So it's basically just saying, is the trend above support? Yes, cool. So with that in mind, let's look at this thing. Okay, so keep in mind, this is total market cap. So total market cap, I don't know why I deleted that. Is it still there? Yeah. So what are the takeaways from this rant that I just went on? Is what we want to take away from the total market cap is capital moving into the market? Yes. Check. Big check. Check. Is the move sustained? Well, it looks like it has a very good chance of sustaining because of all of the cloud metrics I listed. So another big check here. Boom. Now the question is, where's the capital going? Because that's the name of the game, right? You want to ride the capital. All this tells us is that all these first 2 points tell us is capital entering the market? And is it continuing to enter the market? And is it likely to continue fueling the market? Because again, we're looking at crypto as a total asset. Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, shitcoin number 5,000. They're all one asset. They're a very high risk asset class. But now we need to branch off into the 3 asset classes, right? Where's the capital going? Is it going into Bitcoin? BTC? Is it going into alts? Let's say alts, because alts plus, which is high market cap, or is it going into low market cap? Alts minus. Is it going here, here, or here? Well, let's frame the argument here. Okay, so to answer this question, we have a nice, oh, it's already here. We can go to total 2, which is the total market cap minus Bitcoin. So the argument for this is, if total 2 is trending upward, what does that mean? That means that capital, just like total 1, capital is entering into the altcoin market. Altcoin being so altcoin market equals high cap alts plus low cap alts. Because makes sense? This is really important to keep track of here. So, with the same argument that we used for total market cap 1, what do we see here? Well, we see the exact same trend metrics on altcoin 2, which is, again, the altcoin market. So the argument here is that not only are we trending above the prior high, which is huge, this trend still looks strong, right? So everyone who's waiting for all these pullbacks in the altcoin markets, this doesn't suggest that there's going to be a pullback. This looks like a strong continuation to the upside in the altcoin market. So going back to total, what the hell is that? Where's the capital going? Well, we can say yes here and yes here, because again, the altcoin market cap doesn't tell you if it's high cap alts or low cap alts. It just says alts in general going up. Cool. Bitcoin, we have yet to answer this question. Is capital going into Bitcoin? Not sure yet. Is capital moving into the market? Let's answer this question. Is capital moving into the market? Definitely. Is move sustained? Highly, highly likely. I say highly, highly likely because you can't really just say, like, yes, it is going to continue. Like, of course, there's going to be some grain of salt. But if I had placed my money on it like I am, I would say to the upside. Where's capital going? Definitely into the altcoin markets, right? So let's look at total 2. Altcoin market. Trend is high, or trend is strong, trending above the prior highs. This looks like it's ready to go. Altcoins look like they're ready for their next leg up. So that leads us to our next question. Is capital entering Bitcoin? Let's take a look. So using the same trend metrics we talked about in total 1 and total 2, what do we see? We see a strong argument to the upside. The argument for Bitcoin's upside is not as strong as the altcoin, but that doesn't mean that altcoins can't flourish without Bitcoin. All that needs to happen for altcoins to flourish is that Bitcoin just needs to chill. It either needs to go sideways or up, right? Those are the only conditions we need. So, oh, Jesus. There's too much shit on this chart. Let's move over to CME features because it's a little bit cleaner. Has to chill without a break of trend or market structure. So consolidation, clear for altcoin growth, grinding move to the upside, clear for altcoin growth, break of market structure / trend, alts beware. Okay. So what's the takeaway here? Okay, let's go ahead and give a rehash. Is capital entering the market? Yes. Oh, entering, yes. Entering the market. Definitely. Where is it going? Altcoins. And a little into Bitcoin. Are altcoins nearing a top? Not likely. Is Bitcoin near a top? Also not likely. Is capital going to continue into the Okay. So here's the recap. Is capital entering the market? Yes, we just talked about that with the total market cap. Is capital going to continue entering into the market? Well, based on several different arguments, right? We already talked about the dollar argument. The dollar is devaluing. People are looking for other avenues of storing their wealth, or at least preserving their wealth or trying to grow their wealth, right? We talked about stocks, we talked about metals, and now Bitcoin or crypto. Is capital going to continue entering into the market? It looks really likely, guys. This looks very, very promising. Where is it going? Well, it's going into altcoins. The fact that so let's think about this for a second. The fact that altcoins are showing so much promise is very, very bullish for Bitcoin, because the rotation of capital goes something like this. So capital enters market into USD / Bitcoin, moves into higher risk assets like altcoins, moves from altcoins into BTC, moves from BTC into USD. Okay, this is the rotation that capital moves in the crypto market. It moves this way because this is the most efficient way to do it. Capital enters the market into USD slash Bitcoin. When I say USD, I mean depositing into exchanges or just buying Bitcoin outright. It moves into higher risk assets once the market has shown strength. So as long as altcoins are growing, that means there's a high risk appetite in the crypto market. And when alts start to show weakness while Bitcoin shows strength, you should start to raise your eyebrows. And when Bitcoin starts to move down, that means that the capital is rotating out of the market entirely. And right now, we're only on step like 1 and 2. So there's a whole portion of the market cycle that just hasn't even happened yet. So this is really promising on just so many fronts. The dollar going down, altcoin capital growth, total crypto capital growth, Bitcoin showing strength. Man, it's just like, I can't stress this enough. So before I talk about actual trading strategy, let's answer some questions here. Let's hash it out. All right, so on YouTube's, did you already address the CMA features gap on 9.7K? No, I haven't talked about that. Give the doggy a pet for me. She's sleeping in her little nook over there. You missed my squeaky chair? Oh, yeah, I got a fancy new chair that's already needs to be replaced. Crypto market cap could be going up just because dollar is crashing, though. Yeah, I mean, that's an argument, sure. But the rate at which capital is entering into the market is much faster than the rate at which the dollar is devaluing. So that kind of, it's not a one-to-one correlation. Question from Twitch. Are you staking / farming anything? No, I'm not touching that shit. I mean, a ton of people in my trading group are, but I'm not personally trading it. I just don't have the blood pressure to do that anymore. What's your favorite altcoin and why is it tendies? Yeah, I'll go into my favorite altcoin too. All right, so we all caught up here. Okay. So, just to recap, we've talked about crypto market growth via the altcoin and total market cap. We've talked about the dollar devaluing. We've talked about upside targets for Bitcoin. So let's talk about some strategy for how to actually trade this thing, right? Because at the end of the day, if you can't make money in this market, then what the hell's the point in looking at it? So my personal strategy, given the arguments I've placed, is I'm looking long term here. I'm looking 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 years down the road. I don't really care right now about the intraday chop. I'm kind of trading it on like an experimental account that I have in my trading group where I'm like posting the trades, but it's mostly just like a YOLO account that I'm not really even giving a shit about. But what I'm really looking for is I'm not really looking to sell spot, if I'm being honest with you. I'm not looking to sell spot until I see dollar strength and crypto weakness in conjunction with one another. And I do not see a single argument for why that would be the case in the immediate future. Just not one. I'm trying to look at this objectively. If I want it to be just uber bearish, I just don't see it. What is going to happen in the global economy that's going to push the dollar up? Well, coronavirus isn't going anywhere. We're seeing cases of reinfection starting to suspiciously pop up across the world. So to me, this screams buy and hold. Which is very funny because I think one of my major mistakes from 2017 was trying to time every local top and local low. And there are people that can do it, but I've just come to terms with the fact that that's not my edge. My edge is identifying macro trends and macro buying and selling opportunities, not timing hourly trends or 15-minute trends or anything like that. I value my sleep too much. I value my personal life too much. And it's just not viable for me. So let's talk about like what some long-term outlooks on some altcoins, because a few have caught my eye on a very high time frame basis. The most immediate, of course, is Ether. So let's talk about Ether BTC, because it is, I don't know what that is. It is looking mighty sexy. So let's go to Poloniex because it has the history. So Ether BTC. Ether BTC has broken out of a so these are weekly candles. And it's broken out of a macro consolidation, and it's pushing into, you know, arguably macro resistance here, but you know, it's not real firm in terms of like where like it can easily go up much higher. It could easily move up. You know, what is this? From here to here, I mean, that's another 7%. You could argue it could go up to this bro up here. So it still has room to grow. The trend looks strong on the weekly basis. It's broken the 200 EMA. Its trend metrics look just phenomenal for a macro sustained move to the upside. When we look at the daily chart, same thing. And what do we see here? This is what I was talking about with the cross recross. We see the cross, and then boom, recross. And when this current daily candle closes, that's going to confirm the strongest continuation setup you can ask for in the Ichimoku cloud system. This trend is so strong, it didn't even retest the 50 EMA. It just kept going, and it got a recross. So this is screaming continuation to the upside. This is screaming buy and hold. This is screaming don't be an idiot and try to get cute and short this. Okay. There's nothing more heartbreaking than thinking, oh, I'm going to try to short for a cute 3 to 4%, and then the trend just blows you out of the fucking water. It just goes, just rockets right past you, and it just keeps doing it. And it'll happen time and time again. So personally, again, going back to strategy, I'm primarily interested in accumulating spot and hanging on to it for the next year, 2 to 3 years. And I'm looking for zero shorts. I'm going to emphasize this again. Looking for zero short opportunities here. Every short opportunity should be looked at as an opportunity to buy the dip. And unless you're around in 2017, you don't understand this, but shorters just got their asses handed to them time and time and time again. Like, why don't short an uptrend, especially crypto? I can't get over this enough. Question from Twitch. So you think Ethereum will only outperform Bitcoin short term? I used to have no Ether last cycle, but picked up some now and thought of taking altcoin profits. So I'm actually, so let's talk about Ether, because I'm actually super bullish on Ether. Like incredibly bullish. I want to talk about this trading range right here, because if you scroll back to the charts of Bitcoin back in 2016, this range looks awfully familiar, not only in structure, but surprisingly enough in dollar value, to the Bitcoin range, yeah, we can look at this. So take a look at this guy right here. This range looks very similar to this range. It's just an accumulation. It's a double bottom setup, but it's an accumulation trading range. And you can see Ether is breaking out very strong with a strong trend to support it to the upside. That's not to say there won't be any pullbacks, some argument for pullbacks, but I'm personally not looking to short this thing. I'm looking for pullbacks as opportunities to buy, not look for opportunities to sell. And when I say I'm very bullish on Ether, I think Ether could comfortably move to 5K. I'm not even joking about this. This double bottom is massive. It accumulated for 2 years straight. It's a humongous accumulation trading range, and it's just beginning to break out. Okay? When we look at Bitcoin's accumulation trading range, do I have a... Charts are so dirty. I apologize. Oh my god. Old scribblings. Okay. So if you want to draw a comparison, Ether is about somewhere in here. Look at this gigantic trading range here, and it broke out. And I would not be surprised, especially given all these Uniswap token things. I mean, in my opinion, the Uniswap situation is like ICO 2.0. It is the vehicle to get onto exchanges. It's the vehicle to do business, and people are just inherently buying it just so they can get in on the madness. So there's just like this accumulation plus the fundamentals of the Uniswap situation. I see it's going to go up. But there's no. I could easily see 5K for Ether. Imagine streaming this long and not using the YCOL. Yeah. All right, question from Twitch. So much Ether is locked up in this DeFi space, kind of like the ICI bubble in 2017. I agree. Ether's price skyrocketed as well. Yep. Yeah. All right, so a few questions from YouTube. The stock market is super frothy, and if it crashes, so will crypto. We saw this in March. If you list Schmitcoin, I'm gonna lose it. Me too. So I'm actually gonna talk about Schmitcoin. I'm gonna pull that out. That looks pretty Wyckoff to me. Yes, I agree. Okay. So let's talk about some other altcoins. I got to talk about Link. I've been talking about Link annoyingly for the last 2 years, and we got to talk about it. Okay, so why I think Link is destined for glory. Who has the longer history? Is it Poloniex? Is this right? No, it can't be. Maybe it's, I think it's Binance. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at our trend metrics. Is Link in an uptrend? Duh. Yes, uptrend. What I really love about Link is it trends so cleanly. It plays this 200 EMA just all fucking day. And then when it's in a strong uptrend, it plays the 50 EMA. Boom. Like so. And so far, it's showing a lot of strength on the cloud, right? It's showing support on the Kijun. I was hoping for a deeper pullback to the 50. Didn't quite get that. I was hoping for one of these numbers right here. but both the USD and the Bitcoin pairs looks just incredibly strong. And again, not a coin I want to short. I don't understand why people want to short something just because it grew. Like Link, let's take a look at this range, guys. Link broke out of an accumulation trading range that started back in June of 2019 and lasted a full year, and it just broke out big time to the upside. So I don't see the desire to fade it. There's no weakness just yet. That's not to say this isn't the top for Link. I would not want to be playing the downside of Link right now. I could easily see Link ultimately going to like $100. You know, when it first broke out at $4 and I said double digits for Link, I said something like double digits are imminent. People thought I was just like kind of, you know, feeding the, what do they call themselves? The Link Marines clickbait. And I was being dead serious. And now look, it topped at $20 a fucking month later. I think Link still has a lot left in the tank. I personally, it's hard to say. I would feel much more comfortable buying this 50 EMA retest. Even if it was something like this where it came down, wicked it, and I bought the close here, I would be totally cool just riding that out. Just because I know that it's in Link's character to retest the 50 EMA. And it tends to do this sort of number two where it'll make this high, come down, retest the Kijun, get this temporary bounce, and then go down. It's done that a ton of times. Something like this comes to mind. Something like this comes to mind. And of course, something like this comes to mind. So 50 EMA is a good yield, especially if it takes out this low here. That'd be really nice. Just came down, took out that low, slapped the 50 EMA, and then just rocketed up to new highs. That'd be sweet. Yeah, so I'm very bullish on Link. So from Twitch, I've already dumped 2K into crypto, first time trading crypto, and I would want to put more money into it, but I think I should just hold at this point and watch the cycle. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I've already given my perspective on the buy and hold mentality. I've learned from my mistakes from 2017, and I was way too harsh on people that were like the hold gang. You live and learn. In a strong uptrend, I don't see any reason, as long as you're being smart about it and you see that the strong uptrend in aggregate is going to prove to be beneficial, 1-2 years down the road, fuck it. Day trading sucks. I'm telling you firsthand, day trading sucks. It's stressful. It's not fun. I think it's fun when you're young. Just kind of like day trading is fun when you're young, just like drinking Mountain Dew and staying up all night and playing Gauntlet Legends on your N64 with your friends is fun. Not something I want to do in my 30s, but it's fun to look back on it. You know what I mean? Okay, bunch of questions on YouTube. How long do you expect the next bull market to prevail? It's a good question. Well, if we're drawing comparisons back to 2016, and I think the conditions right now are set up to be even stronger than 2016/2017. I mean, 2016 bull market lasted 2 full years. All of 2016, all of 2017. I could easily see a 2-year bull market, no question, for sure. For sure. Do BTC CME gaps always fill? I think someone released a study about this. I don't know if they always fill, but they have a pretty high percentage chance of filling. So here's CME futures. Let's get this shit out of the way. They don't always fill. There have been several gaps that haven't filled. But I mean, it has a really high percentage chance of filling. If the question is just when, like this gap saw significant downside before it got filled. So I would not at all be surprised to not see this gap get filled. In fact, I think this would be pretty bearish if that got filled. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, I want to talk about Tezos because it is just bleeding out of its ass right now, and it's not looking very promising. I know a lot of people were on the hype train for Tezos, but I think a lot of the draw and the pump initially came from people eyeballing those staking rewards. And what I'm kind of trying to understand is, do staking rewards make sense in a strong, bullish, risk-on environment? And it just doesn't. And I think that this bleed that we're seeing here is going to continue bleeding, because if you're looking to risk on, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to be holding Tezos right now. There are better avenues to make money. Even just holding Tezos is making you lose money. I mean, it's from its top, it's down 25%. You know, it is sitting on major support. Not so much weekly, but daily support. It's almost there, I should say. But the BTC chart just looks like it looks like trash. It doesn't look promising. There's nothing to me that says throw your money here instead. You know, if you're looking at a list of options of where you want to throw your money to be productive, Tezos doesn't do it for me. So yeah, not terribly bearish on Tezos. I just think it's going to drastically underperform all of its peers. Let's talk about Ripple. Ripple, I'm actually surprisingly bullish on Ripple. When I say bullish, I mean bullish in the grand scheme of things. I'm perfectly comfortable buying, scooping up bags at this level here. It's very reminiscent of this sort of dealio right here, where it just slow bled, and then boom, blast up. I could totally see this doing this again. It's already trending back above its trend metrics. It's above its Tenkan. It's above its Kijun. Yeah, even the anatomy is strikingly similar. Like the way it's bleeding down, and it's kind of just like tapering off into this like falling wedge kind of thing. But yeah, I think accumulating a bag of Ripple here isn't a bad move. But I really want to talk about Siacoin. I'm really excited about Siacoin. Siacoin's one of the few coins that I'm actually bullish on, not only from a chart perspective, but from a fundamentals perspective. It is trying to be the storage layer of the internet. It's trying to be, I mean, first of all, it's just the project itself is really cool. It's super low key. It's been around forever, since 2016. And you don't see them shilling anything, and I love that about them, because they're actually doing really big things right now. One of their big releases they came out with recently was they have a streaming platform for Sia, and you can kind of think of it like this. So their tokens represent bits of data. So there's a direct correlation between actually holding the coin itself and storage value. And what's really cool is like their streaming services is actually really clean. Like I think you can stream 4K video on their platform. It's really cool. But when we look at it from a chart perspective, I'm very excited about this. Okay, so first of all, breaking out of 2-year-long resistance. Right here, boom. Trend metrics. This is like, to put things into perspective, this doesn't look like a big move right here. this bull pennant breaking out doesn't look like a big move, but look how big this gain has already been. It's already 30% up. And I see this as having a massive upside target. When it actually gets going, I'm looking at like this to be the first resistance. And that's 188% move. But what's really crazy about Saya is when it rips, it just rips, right? So if we're looking at it from this perspective, a lot of people took profit on this resistance here, and it just melted straight through them. I'm really bullish on Saya. If it actually gets mainstream adoption, that's going to be huge. If it gets listed on Coinbase, even bigger. So Saya is like one of the few coins that I'm totally cool just holding indefinitely. I think right now is a really great price level to be buying. And when we look at the trend metrics, looks really strong on the daily. When we look at the weekly, need I say more? It's breaking out of the 200 EMA. It's closing new weekly highs. It just looks great. Saya Bitcoin, same sort of deal, right? If it breaks out of this cloud, has a strong upside target. So all around, it's fantastic setup for Saya Coin. Yeah. Oh, let's look at Litecoin too. So let's look at first of all, let's look at the BTC pair. Who has a long history? Probably Polonius. When we look at so weekly chart, not too enticing, but the daily chart is really starting to perk my ears up because it's been challenging this 200 EMA just over and over and over again. And if we can get a close above the 200 EMA on the daily, that'd be really big. And again, this is the Bitcoin chart. But when we look at the USD chart, it's already broken out. It's already broken out. Trend metrics look good. And when we look at the weekly chart, it's starting this setup, which is amazing. It's called an edge-to-edge trade. So the last weekly candle closed back inside the cloud. And the typical edge-to-edge trade is once it closes inside the cloud, it has a really high likelihood of going to the other side. And in this situation, this is a 40% move on the weekly. If we translate that to the daily from current price, it's like $100, something like that. So Litecoin looks really promising. And if you've been around for any period of time, you know that Litecoin likes to just melt faces irrationally. So I wouldn't sleep on that guy. Balls deep from the lows of the BTC pair. Yeah, go Charlie Coin. I'll take a couple of... damn, I've been streaming for like an hour and a half already. I'll take a couple of requests. And also, if you have any questions about anything I've said, throw them at me because I know I threw a lot of information out that you might want to just go back and rewatch. But yeah. You want to see Dogecoin? Finance? No. Who has the price history is probably, yeah. So Doge is such a little memer, been around since 2014, but it goes through these cyclical phases, right? Where it tends to slap around this level, or around this level, something like that. So I could definitely see it going down a bit further. I mean, this move from here to here, it's a 10% move almost. I don't see anything terribly exciting that says buy Doge now. But, I mean, I think buying and holding Doge, if you're actively watching the charts for moves like this, where it's just like these irrational moves to the upside, I mean, I don't think it's a bad move. It's proven time and time and time and time and time again that it's just highly cyclical in nature, and it tends to top out around, you know, here. So even buying and holding here and just setting a sell order for something up here, I mean, it's an easy 300% move. But yeah, Doge Bitcoin. You know what's funny too is Doge tends to be the front runner of large Bitcoin moves. So it's really interesting. Like here in 2017, it front ran the move to the upside for Bitcoin, and then it just bled out as it transferred all that capital back into Bitcoin, and it did it again in 2018 and a kind of a little bit earlier on this year, but yeah. All right, any other? Can you take a look at? Do melon port? Yeah, I'll do melon. Dude, melon actually sounds pretty good right now. I would love a crisp honeydew. Let's look at BTC pair. Whoa. Is this the one with the longest history? I'm not too familiar with. Okay. Yeah. So strong. Yeah, I mean this looks strong on the BTC pair, which of course is going to reflect positively on the USD pair. Oh, nice! It broke out of this weekly cloud too. So yeah, I mean this looks like a strong continuation to the upside. It's really low liquidity, I guess. What is the Bitfinex? Ew, what the hell is that? What is there a USD pair? Yeah, I mean, this looks like a really strong continuing. I mean, no signs of weakness here. Really strong trend. Came down, kissed this Kijun, and yeah, it looks solid. Making new all-time highs, I see. Stuff like this does kind of give me pause, though. Whenever I see consolidations getting shorter and shorter, so we see, a consolidation here, the second consolidation is getting shorter, that tends to lean toward parabolic blow-off. Whenever we see consolidations getting shorter and the moves getting more and stronger to the upside, also we're seeing this volume contracting here. I'm not saying it's going to do a parabolic blow off or anything, but I personally, if I wasn't already in the melon, if I wasn't a melon man, then I would be looking for a pullback before I just jumped into this market. Yeah, let's talk about Wi-Fi. I've personally not traded this at all, but I know people in my trading group have been. What's the go-to denomination? Nope, that's not it. Is it? How new is this coin? What is the go-to denomination here? BTC? Is it? Is this really that brief of? Oh, okay. I guess that's all the price history we get. I mean, from a technical standpoint, I have nothing here. I also don't know much about like the actual fundamentals of it because again, I haven't been trading a lot of these newer coins. I mean, we could break this down to a 4-hour trend. I could see an argument for a revisit of this low here. I mean, the 4-hour trend looks strong. Everything looks strong, but I mean, where? Can you tell me where the support is when this actually starts to sell off? Like, where does this go? I because there's no, like, how do you know when to get? How do you know when you're wrong? There's no support. There's no market structure. How do you even know at this point? So this is not something I'm trying to trade. Wi-Fi Ether. That's the. Is this the only market for that? Where are you trading Wi-Fi? Am I saying that right? Wi-Fi? I assume so, right? Oh, it's because it's on Uniswap. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna chart that. All right. What other ones you guys got? Do I say DeFi or DeFi? I say DeFi because it's like decentralized finance. All right, I see all you nerds want me to look at DOT. Let's look at this thing. Is this another one? Can you guys... God damn it. Who has the longest history here? What are you guys trading? What is it? What is going on here? Is this another DeFi coin? This has to be a DeFi coin because of this thing. Yeah, dude, I don't know any. Listen, if you're looking for advice on how to trade this DeFi stuff, you're in the wrong spot. I don't give a shit. If I'm being honest, I just could not give a shit about this if I tried. Atom BTC. Let's take a look. There we go. There's a normal one. Oh, this is a great chart. So, Atom BTC. Strong trend. Really strong trend. Flipping support here. Man, this is a great chart. I need to remember this one. It's making a gigantic double bottom. Is this the longest history? Or is there a longer one? Okay, that's what we get. Yeah, strong trend. Perfect. This kind of gives me pause because I could see an argument for this going down and retesting this Kijun. But I would comfortably hold this here. What does the USD chart look like? Yeah, I could see an argument for this pulling back. Maybe set some bids on this Kijun here on the USD pair. Yeah, Atom looks great. Here's some key levels to buy though if it actually does come back down here. But honestly, this thing's trending so well, I would just look for a retest of the Kijun. If you like a link, you'll get a chubby for DOT. Oh, is it like one of those Oracle dealios? What does Atom do? What is their claim to fame? So AGI BTC, no idea what Singularity Net is, but great chart. Had a really strong breakout of this downtrend. Again, another coin that you're gonna want to look for the Kijun to buy. Oh, yeah, look at this edge-to-edge setup. Yeah, there's a really strong argument for this coming down to 473 sats. Yeah, anything down in here is buy territory. Yeah, I'm actually really interested in the fundamentals of Link, not because I'm like into coding and I understand the code whatsoever, but I think that it just has the right infrastructure to pump bullshit news. If I'm being honest. What about IOTA, dude? Wasn't IOTA like delist? Isn't this like a blatant scam? IOTA's chart doesn't look that hot. Yeah, IOTA does not. That's a no for me, dog. It's trending below everything I want it to be trending above. Also, yeah, IOTA is just sketchy as shit. If I remember correctly from 2017, it was just like a blatant scam. Can you look at BAT? Yeah, actually. BAT BTC. So if you notice, I'm looking. So for those of you guys who are new to trading crypto, the reason why I'm looking at the BTC pairs as opposed to USD pairs is because of the checklist we went down on the total market cap, right? We see capitals coming into the market. We see that Bitcoin's in an uptrend. Altcoin capital is coming into the market. So what we want to know is it outperforming Bitcoin? And if not, hold Bitcoin rather than the altcoin. If it's outperforming Bitcoin, it's just like a multiplier. BAT's sitting on top of a range high here. Oh, this is actually a great level to... I really like BAT, if I'm being honest. I've never bought it, but I always liked it from a fundamental standpoint. I think it's cool. This looks like a really nice throwback. This looks like a very... I like this. Oh, wow. Especially with this massive... Oh my god. With this massive edge-to-edge trade? Yeah. Dude, BAT looks really good right now. So BAT and Atom, I need to keep an eye on those. So someone give me the fucking elevator pitch for Atom. I understand what BAT does. What does Atom do? Type it out in 2 sentences or less. Preferably less. Anyone? Oh, is Atom another Oracle dealio? Same sort of thing as Link, or what? Every atom is its own universe. Yeah. Oh, NXS. Okay, so if you weren't around in 2017, I'm going to give you a word of caution about buying some of these alts. Don't think in this mentality of it, quote unquote, it hasn't broken out yet. Because you're just gonna buy shit and let everything else run, and then you're gonna sell too early, and you're gonna be all over yourself. Let's see this. Mm. I mean, it's defined it's got a pretty well defined floor. Jesus, this looks like Schmitcoin kind of. Okay, this actually doesn't look as bad as I thought. The USD pair is more promising than the BTC pair. The BTC pair is kind of doing this thing that we see. Let's like, it'll be like, and it'll just like go like that forever, and then boom. But I like this trend. This isn't bad. Just a slow, chill move to the upside. Nothing terribly exciting. Slowly encroaching upon resistance. Broke its little downtrend here. Yeah, I don't hate this. I don't know if I would throw a terrible amount of money at it personally, but this isn't bad. All right, explanation of Atom. Cosmos lets you build blockchains super easy. Atom is the staking coin. Atoms are designed to acquire future streams of revenue through the evolution of the Cosmos Hub protocol. Bro, I said explain it to me. Now I gotta go research what all that shit is. What does that even mean? Atoms are designed to acquire future streams of revenue through the evolution of the Cosmos Hub protocol. I don't... Okay. It's like... That's like speaking to someone in Portuguese and being like, hey, can you translate this? And they translate it to Spanish. I'm like, no, to fucking English, dude. Yeah, OMG's been just been crazy. So, yeah, didn't they announce something on they had some sort of crazy announcement. Wait. Yikes. This isn't a good look. Man, I remember OMG just being like, first of all, I like what they're doing. I think that's a cool project. But they were just a colossal disappointment during 2017. I remember that. After their initial pump, it just kind of bled out. Yeah, this is not a coin I would personally be looking to buy right now. There's just so much. It's first of all, it's finding resistance on the Kijun, but there's a lot of space between here and the next support level. Yeah, that could drop 40% and not even bat an eye. And it's also running into macro resistance here. So very clear resistance here. I would definitely not want to see weeklies closing below this Kijun. Nah. Personally, I would just look to move on from this one, but that's just me. Okay, I'll take one more and then I gotta go because this has been 2 hours. My throat is dry. I need to eat something. I'm getting fussy. Need to take a nap. You don't have any more? Okay. All right, let's wrap this up then. I guess I'll close this by saying, you know, I'll try to do this more regularly. I've been jumping on my buddy's stream, and we've been playing Tarkov. You know, been playing just video games and talking about crypto markets. So I'm going to try to do some sort of partnership, you know, dealio where we team up and talk about crypto and play video games and stuff. yeah, you know, if I keep getting turnouts like this on my streams, I'll definitely make this a more regular thing. It was just kind of disconcerting to do a stream back in 2019 and it's like 15 fucking people. You know, it's just like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to waste my time doing it. But, you know, I'll try to do it maybe in a week or so, 2 weeks, maybe sooner. We'll see. But in the meantime, if you're interested in joining my trading community, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com, sign up there. It's been going since 2017. Got a lot of really good eyes on the market. And like I said, you know, like just because I don't trade these Uniswap dealios, there's a ton of people in my trading group that do. They're very knowledgeable on it. I'm definitely not a go-to source of information for that, but I got a bunch of people in there that are. So again, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com, sign up. At minimum, you know, give the video a like, subscribe, help the stream metrics, and you know, share it on Twitter, share it with your mom, make her proud, show her what a handsome young man you are. All right, I gotta get some water before I dehydrate and die. So, you guys have a great evening, and I'll let you guys know when I do it again soon.